What's up, guys? This is Kyle from Wax Museum, and with each passing day now, we are getting ever closer to the return of licensed Topps NBA basketball cards. And yeah, it's going to be the Fanatics version. A lot of people have their thoughts on what that might look like. You know, I can't tell you exactly what those will look like. Only time will tell, but I thought it might be fun in the meantime to take a look at all of the licensed Topps sets, the flagship sets that came before. So that's what I'm going to do for you today here. I've gone through my collection. I grabbed one base card from each flagship set from 1957 to 2009. I'm going to run through all of the fronts of those cards, and then I also want to look at the evolution of the back after that, and hopefully we can kind of get a good look at how those cards have changed over time. All right, so let's move the modern ones. I say modern, still some of them are over 30 years old. Modern ones to the side and start with this vintage stuff here with 1957. This is a set that I've talked about a lot before. It was a mix of pose shots and game photos, as Hopkins, of course, is a pose shot. So that was the first Topps NBA set, and we didn't get another NBA set from them until 1969. So that was a pretty big gap in between there. And it's kind of an interesting looking set. The background is blocked out. See if we can focus in here on Eddie Miles. Not a lot of branding on it, and kind of got these goofy players on the front. Usually you'd see that kind of stuff on the backs of cards. They put it on the front in 1969. And you also notice that they are taller, right? It's the tall boys. So that's a pretty big difference from 1957 to 1969. Well, 1970 also had taller cards. We continued that trend with the background being blocked out. And then 1971, we switched back to a more standard trading card size. And this was also the first year that included the ABA, right? The ABA and the NBA was in the same card set here, which seems kind of strange now, but I did a whole video, a whole episode on that at one point. I won't go into detail here, but anyway, we still see that blocked out background. 1972, that continued. Here we have a Dick Barnett, just passed away recently. And I've also done kind of a segment on why the jerseys were backwards. That was a licensing issue, and it was actually resolved by 1972, but it seems like they were using some old photos, or maybe some of the photographers didn't know by that point. 1973 is also a mix of posed and game photos, but the backgrounds aren't blocked out on all of them. Like the game photos have the real backgrounds from the games. I don't have one handy here. I should have pulled it from my Hall of Fame box, but I have the Wilt Chamberlain. That's a game photo. And even though I don't really like the design of this set, I think it's one of Wilt's best looking cards. And I like the fact that it's got his whole career on the back. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes here probably. But let's keep going with these vintage cards. Let's see, should we put 74 up here? 74 had kind of a psychedelic background. I like them a lot, though. It's a very colorful card. And then we moved on to 75. I don't like the design of 75. I think they're kind of ugly. I think it's just this part in the corner for me. But it was a lot more game photos. Even though there were some posed photos, you'll see a lot of photos in front of like locker room, like brick walls and stuff. But a lot more game photos here in 1975. 76 was a big change because these cards are just huge. And honestly, I don't like them. A lot of people do. A lot of people like them. It's just preference, right? There's nothing really wrong with it necessarily. I just don't like the size. I don't like having to store something that size. But, you know, they make plenty of supplies and pages for that, so it's doable. It's just not my favorite thing here. All right, going through the rest of the late 70s here, we've got 1977, 1978. Got a Jack Sikma here. 1979, got an Alex English rookie card. People don't generally know him being on the Pacers. He wasn't there long. And then a very famous set, 1980. And this is actually 3 base cards. Even though they were attached, they chose to make the cards smaller that year and put 3 of them together. I'm not a huge fan of that, although if you're going to do that for any year, though, I do like the fact that Bird and Magic, that their rookies are together. It almost seems fitting in a sense. And then we had the last one for a while. We can focus here. 1981. All right, so that was kind of the beginning of the Topps era, and then they didn't make any more licensed NBA cards until 1992, which a lot of you will remember as being Shaq's rookie year. So I am going to flip these over and look at the backs while I have them out here. So we've got the 57s here, did not have a picture on the back, had a nice little write-up, some basic stats on there, had the player height. Little more room to put stuff on this one here. Usually had a unique fact about the player on the bottom. In 1969, 1970 was kind of the same way, if I can pick it up here, except the orientation changed. Paul Silas wants to be a stockbroker after his playing days. I don't know if he did that. I know he ended up coaching. So 1971. So it's got some trivia and a write-up there. I like these 72s. I like all of the stats on the back. There's a little comic with a fun fact. I like those a lot. 73. Pretty big write-up there for 73. And some of these guys don't have a huge career total just because they hadn't been playing very long. But you get a guy like Larry Jones here who had a pretty lengthy career. '75. I do like the backs on 75s, although the numbers on a lot of them are really hard to read. That one's not too bad, but a lot of times that blue on green is tough to read. Now, this one, you could put tons of stuff on the back. They put college, they put everything on here. And then 77. Switch to the more of a green back on there. 78. 79. 80. And 81. Now notice none of those had pictures of the player on the back, which is something that we really don't get from Panini now, but we kind of expect, right? I kind of expect to see that. I think we got so used to that. Well, that might be because of what we got from some of the other companies a little bit later on, and Topps did that as well. So let's take a look here at the 92 design. You know what? I'm just going to show you the backs while I've got these out here. So 92. So there we go. We have a headshot. It's a different picture, right? So nowadays with Panini, if you get a picture on the back, it's generally just the same picture zoomed in. It's a different picture. So I like that. Okay, 93. Nice action photo on the back, not just a headshot. 94, we've got Haywood Workman, who would go on to become an NBA ref. Look at that. 2 pictures on the back that are different than the one on the front. For Topps basketball stuff right now, I don't think they have 3 pictures of some guys. And yet these older cards had them. 96, obviously a very well-known set. Loaded rookie class. 97. Kind of a basic design. I like the backs on the 97, though. I just like the stats. I like a lot of the stats. I want a picture. 98. Not really a very appealing card. I'm very nostalgic for these, though. I spent a lot of allowance money on 98 Topps. Jason, Vince Carter rookies. This one's got a bunch of crud on it. It was actually stuck to another card. But Luke Longley as a Phoenix Sun. All right, now we've got 2000. Here's a T-Mac from 2000. Big write-up there. 2001, Glenn Rice with the Knicks. 2002, opened a lot of 2002. Penny. Penny again in 2003, Penny Suns cards. (2004). I like the 2004 design a lot. This is the Jeff Foster Shadow card here. I like the 04 design. Little headshot on the back. I like that. 2005. I didn't like this design with the basketballs and the stars, and that's kind of when they put the celebrities in there, so I think that was all intentional. The back's not horrible, but I still don't like that ribbon part. 06. Kind of a basic standard design. I like that. The new Topps Chrome design for 2024, the unlicensed stuff, reminds me a lot of this. 2007, they switched things up quite a bit. The only thing about a black bordered card is it shows the wear, like really bad. 2008, a lot of people like that design. I like 2009 quite a bit. Focus here is really the photography, but it's got some nice foil. So anyway, I guess I should show you that back as well. No picture on the back the last few years here. So just remember that if people say, well, I want it to be like the good old days where the pictures were on the back. Well, if you liked 07, 08, and 09, there were not pictures on the back. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It's something a little bit different. I thought it might be fun to pull those cards. Maybe you have a favorite design, or maybe you have something that you're expecting to see on card backs moving forward. Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, make sure to like and subscribe. Remember, there are new episodes of the audio podcast that come out every Thursday. And as always, thanks for watching.